Welcome everyone to the TD SportsPress podcast. We are back here on this Thursday evening. We are 2 days away from Week 13 games. We're going to be going over all those games. But for the order of agenda today, like I said, my name is Trayson Dayton. This is TD SportsPress. Thanks for coming in tonight on this Thursday night. So here's our agenda that we will be going over. We're going to start off with the college football playoff reactions. Kind of the stuff I was looking at when I saw some of the polling that I saw. And then we'll go into some of the head coachings. Virginia Tech found their guy. We'll talk about that. Lane Kiffin, what is he going to do? We'll be talking about that. And then we got our Week 13 game predictions. So we are super excited to get going with all of this. So like I said, college football is coming down to the wire. So it's kind of crazy how fast the season has gone. I was not prepared for that. Like the season felt like it started yesterday, honestly. So very, very going quick. So obviously the first thing that we want to start out with today. Whoa, whoops, my bad. So the first thing that we want to start out with, that we're starting out with today is our playoff reactions. So that's the first thing that we're going to start off with today. Our playoff rankings reaction. When we're looking at the playoffs, there's a lot of things that kind of baffle me. What does James Madison need to do to be ranked? That is one team that I don't understand how James Madison is not ranked. I understand you can say they're in the Sun Belt, but you look at the quality. I mean, you look at a Tulane team. We're talking about a Tulane team 2 weeks ago that went to UTSA and got beat like 43-13. James Madison has one loss to the Louisville. That loss, granted, doesn't look as good as it did, a couple weeks ago. So I could understand that part, but I don't know. I just don't get why Tulane is above James Madison. I've had James Madison ahead of who's UCF. I had them ahead of them, and I had them ahead of Tulane as well. So that was very interesting to me to see that in the committee's rankings. Moving on with the playoff reactions, I'm sorry, I'm going to do it. How is Tennessee and how is Missouri ranked? You guys might be asking, what do you mean? If you guys didn't know, Missouri and Tennessee are combined 0-6 against AP top 25 teams. They don't have a win against, college football teams or college playoff teams. Anyway, they're 0-6. Missouri and Tennessee are 0-6 against these top 25 teams. And everyone can say, oh, well, they just have a hard schedule. Who have you beat? Like, Missouri, is their best win Kansas? Is that their best win? And you look at Tennessee, who is their best? Is their best win Syracuse? Arkansas? Like, I don't understand. Like, Tennessee at 20 is crazy to me. Another team that I don't get is Illinois. I mean, Illinois has been, and I know it's not just the SEC. Like, those three teams, I really have a problem with where they are ranked. Like I said, Tennessee and Missouri being 0-6 and being in the top 25 is absolutely wild to me. It makes no sense to me. And Illinois is in the same boat right now. Obviously, some things could change. I mean, if Missouri beats Oklahoma, then yes, I will have that conversation. But until we're ready to have that conversation, that just doesn't make sense to me. The next thing that doesn't make sense to me in the college football rankings, how was Alabama behind Notre Dame? It makes no sense. Well, what did Notre Dame do to be a top 9 seed? I know I say this every week. What has Notre Dame done? That's my whole. Why? Their best win is USC. And yes, they have 2 losses by a combined 4 points. But that doesn't matter. I want to know who is your best win. And if your best win is number 15 USC, all right, let's look at Alabama. Who is Alabama's best win? Number 4 Georgia. Like, I just doesn't make sense. Like, I understand how the committee, they said they group teams based and cluster them and then they rank them that way by tiers is what they called it. But how in the world do you have Notre Dame and Alabama in the same tier and you rank Notre Dame ahead of Alabama? I understand Alabama got beat by Florida State. But why? Notre Dame does not deserve to be there, in my opinion. And we can go on. I don't think that they should be ahead of Miami. They played on the field in this season. I know some of us say it's week 1, and Miami has 2 losses. They had 2 losses in the last, what was it, month or whatever it was. But it doesn't matter. That's not part of the criteria. It doesn't say, losses at the early of the year are better than if you lose at the end of the year. That's what generally happens, but that's not what we are talking about here. The next thing I have a problem with, BYU at number 11. What is the difference between BYU and Oregon's resume? And you guys might be thinking, what is the difference? Oh, I'll tell you, BYU has 3 better wins than Oregon's best win. That's what we're talking about with Oregon. Now, granted, Oregon could change that, and they could beat USC this week. And, I would still have BYU over Oregon. I feel like BYU is really underrated in these playoff rankings. I don't know what they need to do to get, in the playoffs. And you can say, they lost by 4 touchdowns to Texas Tech. They're number 5 on the road. Who would go on the road and beat Texas Tech? Honestly, I understand BYU didn't have their best outing, but BYU also has wins at Utah. Against Utah. They went to Iowa State and won. And yes, I know they're going to say, Iowa State's still a good football team. That's still a better win than Oregon has. I don't understand. I don't understand what BYU did at the committee and what Oregon did. Like, there is zero difference between Oregon and BYU other than BYU has better wins than Oregon right now. It makes no sense to me. Looking at the top 3, like I said, I would have Texas A&M ahead of Indiana personally. But, if you don't, I'd understand. So, that's our playoff reactions. It's just questionable. I don't understand some of these things. I don't understand why we play the games at this point with the committee. What's the point of playing, Notre Dame and Miami playing? What was the point of that? That didn't help Miami one bit. And you can say, Miami has 2 unranked losses. Does Notre Dame have 2 losses? Oh, wait a minute. One of their losses is Miami. Crazy how that works. So, moving on, we're going to get into the coaching carousel this week. So the coaching carousel, if you guys did not see the news, James Franklin is going to Virginia Tech. And I think this is a move that is going to spark this university into the higher tier of the ACC. I think James Franklin got the bad end of the deal at Penn State. And you can say all you want, he never won a big game. Well, great, he's going to Virginia Tech in the ACC. This feels like a match made. I really think I don't think Penn State will hire a better coach than James Franklin. That is my hot take. Penn State will not hire a better coach than what they had. And I just look at the coaching carousel as a whole, and there's so many open jobs right now, and I don't think Penn State's a marquee job. And I might get hated on that in the comments, but I think that LSU, I think that Florida's a better job. I think that Auburn's a better job. Those 3 for sure, than maybe Penn State. For sure, but I don't know. I don't think that the only way that Penn State gets a better coach is if they hire Matt Campbell. That's the only way. But James Franklin going to Virginia Tech is a huge move for Virginia Tech. It looks like they're going to up their resources for NIL, and it looks like Virginia Tech's going to have a lot of recruits going to visit Virginia Tech. They play Miami on it. That would be a very interesting game. So good for James Franklin. I'm happy for him going to Virginia Tech. I think it's a great match. I think this is going to work out. This is kind of what I thought was going to happen with James Franklin from the start. So with that being said, let's move into our next coach. What is Lane Kiffin going to do? If you guys haven't seen the latest news with Lane Kiffin is all over the place. He was reportedly in Gainesville Sunday and Baton Rouge on Monday. Maybe I got those 2 mixed up. If I did, I apologize. I don't know what to make of that. It's on message boards, and you guys know how trustworthy message boards are at this point. Personally, what I think with Lane Kiffin, I think this is Lane Kiffin. I think he wants to be one of the all-time greats in college football. If he wants to do that, he is going to stay at Ole Miss. I don't think he's going to have better success at LSU or Florida than what he has at Ole Miss. Ole Miss has 1 loss, and they're going to be playing in the college football playoff. He's going to have to build up. Look what happened to Brian Kelly, for example. Brian Kelly they're like 5-3, and they fire him. And it could be granted, whatever the turmoil was, but why would you leave Ole Miss? That's what I would tell Lincoln. Why would you leave that place? That place loves you. They're going to build a statue there if you keep doing what they're doing. So personally, everyone's been asking what I think about that. I think Lane Kiffin's going to stay at Ole Miss. I don't see Lane Kiffin moving. personally. So that's what I think when it regards to Lane Kiffin. So with that being said, let's move into our predictions side of the show. The first game we got, number 22 Missouri, who I was talking about, who has 0 top 25 wins, going to Oklahoma. Oklahoma coming off that huge win at Alabama, winning the turnover battle. And with the turnover battle, that leads me right into my point. Oklahoma is a 6.5-point favorite. If Oklahoma can create turnovers like they have the last couple weeks, I think Oklahoma wins this by 2+ touchdowns. The turnover margin for Oklahoma is the reason why they're having so much success at the end of the year compared to what they had earlier in the year. Their defense is creating turnovers. They turned over Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson is one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. They turned him over. He threw a pick six. Looking at this game, I think Oklahoma knows what. I think Oklahoma, it's simple for them. Win out, make the college football playoff. Missouri, Eli, drinks or is in the, he's in every coaching search right now. So where's his head at? Missouri, are they going to have their, quarterback back? That's another thing. I don't know. So I'm going to go with Oklahoma. I think they cover. I don't normally do that, but I think they cover. I think they're going to turn over Missouri. I think that's the difference in this game. I think they win by 2+ touchdowns. This might be a regret, but I feel really good about Oklahoma. They might have a letdown spot. I still think that it comes down to if they create turnovers, they'll win them by 2+ touchdowns. If they don't, this could be a one-score game going into the fourth quarter, and we'll see what happens. So that's kind of what I'm seeing with this game. This game should be a very good football game. With that being said, our next game that we will be talking about is College Game Day is going this year. College Game Day is going there this week on Saturday. Number 15 USC is going to number 7 Oregon. Now, if you guys have listened earlier to the show, I was telling how Oregon doesn't have that marquee win. This would count. And USC in the same boat. Lane Kiffin. Or excuse me, I was just talking about him. He got fired at USC. Anyway, Lincoln Riley at USC, he hasn't had that one marquee win. You look at USC and his tenure at USC, they have not had the one marquee win that's the best one he's had. Here's an opportunity to go to Eugene and, control your playoff destiny. Oregon, they're the same way. Oregon's best win, right? It might be Minnesota. I'm not even kidding. That might be their best win right now. They're getting credit for a good loss to Indiana, but their best win's Minnesota. So maybe not. It might be Iowa. I don't know. I guess Iowa has the head-to-head with Minnesota. Anyway, I think Oregon wins this game. I don't think they cover though. I think USC is going to keep this game close. I think they have a really good quarterback. I think this is a better USC team than we've seen the last couple of years on the field. And we're going to see what happens. USC had to duke it out with Iowa, won it in the last, 2 minutes. So I think that Oregon is going to win this, but I think this is going to be a really good game. I think, both teams are still, they're both in the playoff hunt right now, and they need that marquee win. This could be, if USC wins this game, this just changes the whole everything about the way we talk about USC this year. This is the game for USC. This is their chance to really have that game that everyone talks about. So I'll be very interested in that game. That being said, let's go to our next game. We got number 11 BYU going to Cincinnati Saturday night. BYU is a 2.5-point favorite. And best bet of the week. We are 5-1 now. Let's make it 6-1. BYU will cover the 2.5. I don't know why Vegas hates BYU. I don't know. I love it. All the followers that have been tallying the picks, this is like the 4th time BYU's been the best bet of the week. As you guys know, I don't personally bet, but if you guys are into this, BYU's a surefire to win this by at least 2.5. The books, like I said, the books don't like BYU. They call them fraudulent or whatever. Last week they were at 3.5, and that was our best bet of the week. So the only time we haven't won our bet of the week was when we didn't pick a BYU game. So BYU is our best bet of the week again on this channel. Number 11, like BYU, they know what they need to do to get in the college football playoffs. Cincinnati, they got train wrecked by Utah a couple weeks ago, and Cincinnati, they also just got beat last week as well. I just don't understand what BYU. I don't know why Vegas hates them, but if you believe in something that's I don't know. I don't want to use some words here, but BYU is going to beat Cincinnati basically. I don't care. This is on the road. They're going to be by 2.5 points. BYU, they had an amazing performance against TCU. I think TCU and Cincinnati are basically the same team, and that might sound crazy, but I really think they're in the same tier in the Big 12. I think this is a great game for BYU. I think they're. I'm really confident in BYU. They're gonna get it done, going on the road. So that should be a really fun game on the road. So that being said, let's go on to our next game that we have here. Our next game that we will be talking about is Pittsburgh going to play number 16 Georgia Tech. Holy smokes, the ACC is one of the biggest jokes I've seen. It's like the Big 12 every year besides this year. I mean, everyone's beating everyone. I have no idea who's good and who's not. Pittsburgh got, they got beat by Notre Dame pretty good. Georgia Tech, I have no idea what to make of Georgia. They're in a dogfight every time I look at the ESPN app. Georgia Tech's in a dogfight with some ACC team. So I have either the ACC is the best conference in the nation, or they're the worst Power 4 conference. I lean to the latter of those. I think they might be the worst. I think the Big 12 is better than the ACC this year. But going back to this game, Pittsburgh's season's kind of changed since they put that freshman quarterback in for Pittsburgh. Georgia Tech, they have Haynes King. That's Georgia Tech's team. They have zero defense. This is going to be a high-scoring affair. Georgia Tech doesn't know what defense is, I feel like. And, Pitt's going on the road. This game was a game I kind of stared at for like forever because I had no idea who I was going to pick in this game. You could tell me either team wins this and I would not be shocked. So with that logic, we're going to go with the home team. I think Georgia Tech wins this game. I'm not confident. This is a game that's a pick 'em. You could probably flip a coin and that would probably be a more accurate description of how I picked Georgia Tech. But I think Georgia Tech wins this at home. If this game was at Pitt, I'd probably pick Pitt. So maybe I read the schedule. Maybe it's at, I think it's at Georgia Tech. So this is going to be a very interesting game. Like I said, the ACC is a mess. It's a joke. I don't know what it is this year. It has not been a good year in the ACC. Their highlight was Florida State beat Alabama, then Florida State. I think they're like 5-5 now. So yeah, it's been a disappointing year in the ACC. I think a lot of people would agree with that. So moving on to our next game. Our last game of the night that we have here is Rutgers is going to play Ohio State. I know, guys. I know you're like, well, why are we even previewing this game? It's just to pad the stats. I'm kidding. But I think Ohio State wins 32.5. Holy smokes. I don't think I'm a little concerned about Ohio State's health. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not sure who's healthy, who's not. But Ohio State's just steamrolled everyone this year with the exception of Texas, which was the first game of the year. I really have no idea what to make of some of these teams, but I think Ohio State wins this game. I really do. So I think Ohio State's going to win this game. And with that being said, that is our full show tonight. Thanks for everyone that's been watching this. If you're new to the channel, if you guys could go ahead and leave us and subscribe to the channel, helps us out trying to get to 30 subscribers. Or check out our TikTok. We're getting close to 15,000 followers. We're under 200 away, so we are getting close to hitting that goal. And like I said, college football is coming to an end, and savor it. Have a great Saturday. There's only so many of these left. And with that being said, we will see you back here Sunday for our Week 13 Takeaway show. With that being said, have a great night.